What in the world was that? A roller coaster with showdown at Madison Square Garden has us absolutely baffled as things just keep getting worse for the Canucks on this East Coast road trip. We're going to be breaking down all of that in this episode of Canucks Digest. So first, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss any and all Canucks updates as we try and salvage what's left of this road trip. And with that, let's hop into the first topic of the day, which is what was that? And of course, what I'm referring to is what happened just now. We're just getting this out now. We haven't even waited until the post-game interviews have gotten out on this Canucks loss to the New York Rangers of 5-3. It was 4-3 until JT Miller, of all people, sealed the deal with an empty net goal, just adding extra salt in the wound. And that did not feel good. And looking at this game stat sheet, we're going to hop into the main glaring one in a second here. But looking at the takeaways, that Rangers dominated us in that sense. Giveaways, we were able to edge them out there by 2. Block shots, we were laying the body on the ice a lot. Hits, it was a very physical game. We saw Kiefer Sherwood, who, before we hop into that, Kiefer Sherwood, congratulations. You set the NHL record for the most hits in a single season and are going to continue to build on that record. So before we hop into the nitty gritty of that, just want to give Kiefer Sherwood his flowers here. Great job on that. You've been an amazing player for us this season ever since we brought you in on a great deal, and you have been worth every single penny, and can't wait to see what more you do within this Canucks franchise. And you have been an absolute tone setter for us. Great that Kiefer Sherwood got that. And now let's hop into the other parts of this game. Power play, we were 0 for 3. That cannot happen. We were able to win in the faceoff circle, which was a bit better than against St. Louis, but not capitalizing on the power play. And of course, the one that everyone's going to jump on, and that's what we're going to harp on here, the shots on goal. And now when we look at the shots on goal, 39-12 in favor of the Canucks. How in the world did we lose this game when only facing 12 shots on net? That is absolutely beyond baffling to me. I was texting Mark, I was texting everybody else at Canucks Digest saying, hey, what is going on here? How do they have a goal with only 4 shots on net and we had 20? How in the world is this happening? And I've said it before. Somehow, the Canucks seem like a better hockey team when they shoot less than 20 times on net. I don't know what it is, but it seems like we win more games when we don't get 20 plus shots on net, and everyone gets pissed off about it. And I understand the frustration with not seeing a lot of offense, but when we're going against a goalie like Igor Shesterkin, who absolutely carried the New York Rangers today. I don't care what anybody says. When you're facing that many shots, your goalie is the only one keeping you in that game, especially when you can only generate 12 shots on net of offense. Absolutely pitiful. I know I'm ripping the New York Rangers apart right now because they had little offense compared to ours, but that is the big thing here, and that is why I'm so mad, is that they were able to beat us by barely having to do anything with the puck. And looking at the shots on goal by period, 11-1 in the first period, 13-5 in the second, 15-6 in the third. What was happening? We were looking like the Toronto Maple Leafs out there, generating so much offense with no goals to score for it, especially looking at the line score. We had this game pretty much in hand, just aside from scoring. Everything else we were doing just fine, except for the score sheet. And then the floodgates just absolutely opened up in the third period, where defense just went completely by the wayside, and they said, all right, let's just open up the scoring and see what can happen. And the New York Rangers rattled off 4 goals in the third period on 6 shots. Absolutely insane. This cannot happen. Honestly, this seemed like the final nail in the coffin for the Canucks season. I know we still have some hope. It's not all doom and gloom. But if you're looking at this, how do we go from beating the Winnipeg Jets 6-2 and then losing in an overtime game to the St. Louis Blues, who we're in playoff contention with, to losing to the New York Rangers like this? Now, a lot of players played great games today. There was a lot of stuff that I liked seeing out there. Jonathan Lekkerimäki, he had a really great takeaway in the third period. That was really nice. It did lead to a bad giveaway. However, he still played a really solid game. Quinn Hughes, he knew he didn't play good last game. He brought his A game there. In that final minute of the third period, he was looking like Connor McDavid with that speed out there, just flying like a bat out of hell all over the ice, trying to get something going in that final minute. We had a chance in the last 2 minutes with that scrum in front of the net. Hronek just could not get it through. Brock Boeser coming in clutch with a big goal to tie the game, and then we just gave it up 37 seconds later. But when Boeser scored, obviously, I was feeling really high. You guys know how I feel about Boeser. I've said how when you need a big time goal, you need Boeser. looking at what happened the other night as well, how even my cousin, who barely knows anything about hockey, I showed her that picture and said, hey, what should have happened here? Should Quinn Hughes take the shot or pass it to Boeser? She even said, pass it to Boeser 100%. Well, what happened here? Boeser was able to capitalize and score another late game goal to get us back in this game. Like I've always said, that Brock Boeser is best at doing as the most valuable Canuck that we have because of how he can score and when he scores in those goals. Yes, is this happening later on in the year? Would you like to see this happen earlier in the year? Of course, but it's happening now, and that's what matters. The only thing that needs to happen now is the rest of the team needs to rise to this occasion. How do you get 39 shots on net, 39, and not score more than 3 goals? Absolutely insane, inexcusable. I know, Igor Shesterkin, fantastic goalie. All the props in the world to him. He played a fantastic game. He was standing on his head. And the only time we were able to get goals is when it was on a fluke like the Joshua goal where it was just a loose puck, or the rebound with O'Connor as well. And then Brock Boeser getting that one as well was also really great, and just a testament to how he can just have an amazing shot when he's just fully clicking. But with this team, we were only getting goals on flukes and on it just insanely lucky opportunities. The Rangers, they were just beating the hell out of us physically, and then they were just barely having to get any offense going, and somehow they were able to do it. It was very sloppy on their goals that they got. It was very sloppy on defensively for the Vancouver, when, for the most part, we played a solid game defensively. But on those goals was just absolutely not what you want to see. And yes, big part of that, like I said, we're getting this out just after the game ended, so we haven't had time to wait around for the post-game press conferences. So as far as an update on Pettersson, yes, he left the game. He did not come back. He stayed on the end of the bench after coming back from the dressing room. However, he did not return to the game. So as far as an update on him, that's going to be in a separate video. We'll get that out to you guys as soon as we can. But as far as the game as a whole, just going off of this, I could not wait around to just get on here. And hopefully you guys are sharing this same frustration, where we had so many opportunities in this game. We had so many chances. We generated so much offense. This might be the most offense that I've seen out of the Canucks, not only this year, but also last season. Unless we're playing a team like Edmonton or Toronto, I've never seen this Canucks offense fire off as many shots as they did today in Madison Square Garden. Yeah, they had a lot of hope behind them as well with the special day in New York today, but we had a lot riding on this game, and we needed to win this game. The worst part of it being that JT Miller scored that empty netter. When it could have been anybody else. It could have been Zibanejad. It could have been Chris Kreider, for all that I care. As long as it was anybody but JT Miller. And of course, just had to be him, just launching it completely down the ice, sealing that final nail in the coffin, and seemingly shutting. I know all of our playoff hopes aren't completely gone, but that seemed like a final nail in the coffin for the season. And of course, it just had to be delivered by him. It was very unfortunate to see. I'm just exasperated after that game. It was a roller coaster of a game, because for a time I thought, okay, we're in command right now. We might be able to do this. I know that it's a tie game for the most part, but we've been in command offensively, and all it takes is one more opportunity like that. We kept getting those opportunities, and Igor Shesterkin kept shutting the door on us and making sure we couldn't capitalize on that. And then all it took was just fast breaks here and there for New York, and that's all it really took. And it was very, very demoralizing to watch. It was all the way up and down, just like we know it's going to be down this stretch as the Canucks fans. We're fighting for that final playoff spot. So every game is a playoff game from here on out. Every game is going to be stressful. So we're going to have our ups. We're going to have our downs. We'll be here to be your therapist and have you vent to about it. But this was one that we should have had. It got away from us for sure. And it's very disappointing to be on here talking about the loss, the way that it happened. I was fully ready to come out here saying, hey, we dominated them offensively. We shut them down defensively. We were able to get all the opportunities. We were able to light up the shot clock, and we were able to light up the score sheet. With that many shots on net, you should be scoring more than 3 goals. I know we're going up against a great goalie, but when you have Quinn Hughes, Drew O'Connor, he had a great goal. You have Quinn Hughes, Brock Boeser, Elias Pettersson, who, yes, he was hurt, Kiefer Sherwood, Teddy Bluger even, Pius Suter, Niels Höglander's been turned on. He had a really good chance at a really beautiful looking goal earlier in the game that was unfortunately just muffled because he couldn't fit it through the legs, and just the puck ended up being loose. So there was so many chances that we could have had, and this was one that definitely got away from the Canucks. It sucks to be on here talking about a loss like this, especially when every single game is so critical. I was really hoping when Boeser scored that tie goal, I was hoping, okay, if this goes overtime, we can steal those 2 points just like we were hoping we would, make up for that St. Louis game. But no, 37 seconds later, you give that up, and then it leads to the empty netter. Just was very, very disappointing loss to see from the Canucks when it looked like, hey, this is the most offense we've seen all season from the Canucks, and it just could not translate into a W. But what are your guys' thoughts on this loss as a whole? I know it's very demoralizing just from everything. I know our season isn't completely lost, but with how things looked here where we had so much offense and couldn't get it going, what do you guys think of how that looks for the rest of this season down the stretch to try and push for that final wild card spot? Let us know what you guys have to say down in the comments. Love to hear your guys' opinion, especially on this game and on JT Miller getting that empty netter. It just sucked to see. It was just extra salt in the wound. Just left a bad taste in my mouth, and hopefully your guys' as well. But that's going to do it for this episode of Canucks Digest. I've been your host, Griffen. Take care.